Send it.
First one, starting a podcast.
Yeah.
John, you're Mason.
I am Mason. Yes.
Decided we're going to start a podcast because we both just chat after class all the time, and we thought might as well put it into a format where other people can listen to it.
That's it.
So what do you think you really want to do with this?
It's just like you said, really. I think a lot like every gym, we get the car park chats going after training. Always. And then you get moaned at by the missus for being half an hour late. Everyone always wants to chat about jiu-jitsu and talk about jiu-jitsu. So he was like, well...
No, the partners don't want to hear about it.
Yeah, that's it. So if we do it here, then we're talking, and then you lot can all hear it. You can all slate us for our nonsense talk. And
We'll try to get up almost like a Discord or a Reddit form for people to be able to discuss each podcast, or if we say something that's completely stupid.
Yeah, you can slate us.
Yeah.
We can take it.
That's why it's called Jiu Jidiots.
Yeah, that's it. We are just a couple of idiots.
Yeah. Just trying to do a journey through jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. So we're going to do the podcast. We've got a few other ideas of stuff that we'd like to...
incorporate.
Yes.
No, I think hopefully we can get some people on as well, discuss how they got into jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And how they found jiu-jitsu.
We'll do our stories as well.
Yeah.
And then have some different people on. That would be good.
Because even just us two alone, like the ways we found jiu-jitsu or got into it and the reasons why are like completely different as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And so many people I know who got into it for different reasons and gone through so much stuff in their life and still find it.
Yeah, I think
keeps a balance.
A lot of people just, I guess the natural thing is like people like, oh, I like the idea of MMA or whatever, and then they're like, oh, I like that looks good, and they'll find like a jiu-jitsu gym or an MMA gym or whatever and just start.
Yeah.
But once you start, you're like, it's worse than cocaine. It's an addiction.
It is. It's such an addiction, and I think for people who don't do jiu-jitsu, they really don't understand it.
Yeah, that's it.
It's like never really understand the fascination with it or why I love it so much. But until you do it, you can't. It's hard to explain. But it's like there's so much with it. It's not just a sport. It's not just a martial art. It's an exercise as well.
Yeah.
Plus community.
Yeah.
A family.
The amount of friends that you make.
Yeah.
Through the gyms, and like, no other. Well, I say no other, but I've trained in other martial arts, dabbled in other martial arts, and definitely those gyms, boxing gyms and stuff like that, they're not. Then my personal experience is that they've never been as friendly as the jiu-jitsu gyms that I've trained in.
No.
It's the weirdest thing. And I've had the conversation with my missus before, like, because she's come and watched me in competition or whatever, and she's like, you like go on the mat and you try and kill each other, and then you stand up and you like hug each other, and you're like, oh, thanks. And it's like, that's weird. Like, what is going on? But it's just the way that jiu-jitsu is. Like, we understand each other.
Yeah.
And no one cares if you win or you lose or you this or you that. Or
everyone's pretty much there for similar reasons, or like it's an escape from reality almost. Like you just get sucked into it. And when you're on the mat, you don't think about anything else.
Yeah, that's it.
And you're just in this zone, and it's like a video game.
Yeah, that's why, like, there's a guy that's training at our gym at the moment through reorg, and I had like a small conversation with him about it, whatever, and he was like, obviously he hasn't told me, but he said he's had, problems leading to the point of being on the mats.
Yeah. And
obviously reorg have reached out to him, so whether it's something, I'm not speculating, I haven't asked him, but whether it's mental health problems or physical health problems or whatever, because obviously that's what reorg are all about. But he just said, like, he turned around and he said, when I'm here for an hour or 2 hours or whatever, you don't think about anything else. You just roll in. You're like, all you're thinking about is, how did that guy just choke me with that? How did he just get me in that arm bar? Do you know what I mean? So that's what that is. It's not just, jiu-jitsu people don't just train to kill each other. It's
so much more.
It's probably the lowest ego sport. You obviously get people with an ego, 100%. But it's probably the lowest ego sport, martial art, that you can train.
Yeah, definitely. But with that, that's the kind of basic of what we're gonna do with this podcast.
Yeah.
But how's your training been going recently?
Pretty good.
Yeah, no injuries?
My knees. I'm suffering a little bit with my knees. We've been doing a bit of lasso guard and spider guard, and I don't know if the sort of like different sweeps and stuff are just taking its toll a little bit on my knees. But apart from that, my thumb is still bad because I broke my thumb.
Is it the same arm as your messed up elbow?
I don't know. I can't actually remember because both my thumbs are really bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, this arm, my left arm, is just absolutely, it's useless now. Luckily, I'm right-handed.
That's good then.
But yeah, training's good. I feel like I'm coming out of a little bit of like a plateau again.
Yeah.
I feel like I was stuck for a while.
Did you just feel like nothing was changing or like your game wasn't improving?
Yeah, and people that I wasn't struggling against, all of a sudden I'm struggling against.
No.
But now I feel like I've picked a couple of details back up, and hopefully I'm coming back out the back of that. But the problem is everyone's always improving together.
Yeah.
When you train at a gym, like, it's weird because I've had friends that have like started at white belt, but I always, in my head, they're just day one. Yeah. I forget that they've trained for like over a year, and then they're getting good, and I'm like, these guys have been training for like 2 days. What's going on? But they haven't. That's
the great thing of the cross training though, because when you're training in the same place with the same people, they get to know your game, and it feels like it's very difficult to get your game to work on someone. And the other day, I went down to Ippon with Cam, and suddenly half the stuff that I do at our club
that doesn't work,
yeah, was working down there.
That's it. Yeah,
they're not used to the game.
Yeah, that's it.
So I think cross training, some clubs don't allow it, but most of the ones I've been around down south allow it. And I think it's one of the best things you can do.
I think luckily, because we train under Parestra,
most of the clubs around here,
most of the clubs around us or in the south are Parestra. Yeah. So it's like you can sort of dip into any of them, and you're like welcomed because you know the head coaches, or you know a lot of people that train there and stuff like that. So it's ideal for us. Like at independent gyms, I suppose it can be quite daunting in a way for people to sort of cross train. But
going somewhere else and joining in, fighting each other can be something that's difficult to do.
Yeah.
But once you do it a few times, it's generally, it gets easier.
Yeah. I think you've kind of just got to accept that you're shark bait.
Yeah.
Like if you don't know anyone, they're just going to try and prove themselves on you. So if you are going to,
they see it as an opportunity to practice what they've been learning.
But if you are going to go and cross train and go to a gym that you don't know anyone, I think mentally you've just got to be like, okay, this isn't going to be like my training session at my gym. This is going to be a little bit harder. I mean, that's potentially, that's not true for all gyms.
No.
And not true for every person in that gym, but you will get some people that are like, right, this guy, I'm going to have him.
Yeah.
So, but
I'm finding at the moment, trying to keep up with the youngsters.
You're not even that old.
Everyone says that once you hit 30, it changes. Like, I'm 31, injuries just don't seem to disappear. And you get people like in their 20 to 24, 25. They're just like at the club, there's a couple of them that are just creeping past, and they're just slowly like improving, getting better and better, and they're so relaxed as well.
Yeah. But that you were there once.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
100%.
Yeah.
I was one of those, but I'm still trying to stay on top of it.
That's my problem.
One day they're going to pass me.
Yeah.
And I just have to accept it, but I'll try and hold out as long as I can.
My problem is I'm approaching 30 and I'm the same. I'm like
they say it all the time. Once you hit 30, it all changes.
Yeah.
When I hit 30, like before then, I was like, nah, they're just talking shit. I'm going to be fine. And then I hit 30 and everything did change.
Yeah. Imagine 40s, 50s, 60s. Oh, yeah. Some people start training when they're 60.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What's the oldest person we've got in our club? They're in their 50s.
Oh, no, I think it's probably Ahmed.
Is it?
I would say so. I'm not going to speculate his age, but obviously I would say he's potentially over 50.
I think around
over
50.
Near 60, something like that.
Maybe not 60.
Ben was 49.
Was he?
Was he when he got his brown belt?
I'm not sure.
Okay, sorry, Ben, if I completely just aged you there. I mean, obviously, yeah, the oldest guy. I don't know really. Don't know. can't think of anyone. We've got a lot of guys that are sort of like 40s,
Yeah.
early 50s, haven't we, potentially?
Old man strength.
Old man strength, yeah.
So I didn't even realise John Harrison, he's 39, 38.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. It was his 39th birthday the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought he was like, I've always thought he was about my
Yeah,
age.
same,
But he's
yeah.
actually like 8
Yeah,
years
yeah,
older
yeah.
than me.
Yeah, that's true, actually, because he said he was his 40th next year.
Yeah,
So,
he's still
yeah.
smashing it.
Yeah, he's a
Got
beast.
Absolute blown out knee. But what was the thing that he's been taking for that? I can't remember what it's called.
I don't know if he'll want us to publicise this, but he's been injecting...
Maybe we'll bleep this bit.
yeah.
But no, it has improved his knee though.
It's not like TRT or anything like that. It's James Smith
Mentioned it.
did a lot on it. What the fuck is it called? I don't know. I'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it seems.
Peptides.
Oh,
Peptides.
okay.
Yeah.
I don't have a clue what it is, but he's been saying it's worked. Like it's definitely helped.
Yeah.
Hasn't fixed it, but the pain's sort of gone somewhat.
Yeah. Well, I think is it his MCL?
Potentially.
Basically, it's completely blown, isn't it? But
Yeah.
I can't remember if they said they haven't offered him surgery or they can't get him in for surgery or something yet. But
So
yeah,
like,
he's suffering
It was crazy how long he had to wait for. Like he had a scan.
Yeah.
To check if it was like the MCL and that, and
It was like 2 months.
yeah, for the results he had to wait something like 2 months for.
But
the
he
result.
was off. He took the 2 months off training,
Yeah.
and then they were kind of like, "Oh yeah, just you'll be alright. Go back to training." He's like, "Well, I could have probably done that." Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But this knees, I say I'm suffering a little bit of mine. Nothing like that. But knees just seem to Jiu Jitsu and knees, they just don't mix.
Yeah, especially if you push it, the training. Like obviously, there's people out there like Ben was very good at it. He was very relaxed with his training.
Yeah.
He didn't overdo it. He didn't go in against like youngsters and go ham for like competition rounds or anything like that. He would warm up, he would stretch, and he very rarely got any injuries.
Yeah.
And you can definitely go through jiu-jitsu and do that.
Yeah, that's it.
But when you try push it and
Oh yeah, 100%.
open mats, you just go ham.
Yeah.
Then it happens.
I think you just have to learn and pick your training partners.
Yeah.
Because I know people that I'm like, I will avoid them today because
Not feeling
I
100%.
just or you think, am I gonna get hurt if I roll with that guy?
Yeah.
So yeah, I just pick and choose. But
I have a tendency over mat. I just roll with whoever, as long as they're not going to stop me and ask me how to do something. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Because open mat is the only time I really get to just train.
Or
and
if you
push
go
myself.
to another gym, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without telling people.
Yeah. We can't. Actually, yeah, we will go into that. So Cam and John organised a little trip to Ippon and didn't invite anyone. They just went on their own.
I didn't organise it. I was invited.
But you were in the group and you could have gone, oh, what about...
I did that, but...
No, you didn't.
I did for John Harrison, I think.
So you didn't even do it for me?
I didn't think on the spot. Like, it was last minute. The next one, though, you're 100%
You should have
invited.
just shut up.
Do you want to come to the next one?
I'm going to go on my own. I'm not going with you guys.
Next one's last Thursday of October.
We'll see.
You're just going to go down there anyway.
Yeah, I am.
But I think Jeff's going to be here on the 12th.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Possibly.
Yeah, hopefully.
That's going to be a fun day.
We've got our... I want to say annual, but it's not annual, is it? Because he doesn't.
No.
It's just like a grading day we've got coming up.
I think he's just chosen this day when everyone's kind of available.
I think there's going to be a few exciting belts.
So it's quite nice having a...
It's going to be like probably one of the, like, not biggest, but as in like there's a lot of people going to be attending.
Yeah.
Not just our club, other clubs as well. So
the last big one would have been something like Yuki.
When Bernie got his black belt.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think who else got... Did anyone else get promoted that day? No.
It was just Bernie,
It was just Bernie, yeah.
Yeah.
Because then Ben got his brown belt after that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before he was leaving.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need to actually message Ben and just see how he's doing.
Yeah, I thought about him the other day. Well, I was wondering if anyone's... He's probably... I don't know if he had Facebook, but... Because he probably might... I know he's on the Isle of Wight, but he might have come up for the 12th, I thought.
Might do.
Yeah, so someone needs to.
Bernie probably would have messaged him.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, his wife used to be in our coaches chat, didn't?
Yeah.
But she left when Ben left the gym. She left the chat. She probably couldn't put up with the bullshit anymore.
Yeah. But how are you finding training at the moment?
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said.
How much are you doing at the moment? 5 times a week?
Yeah, so what do? I do Monday I do help with the kids class, then I do 2 classes.
How do you find the kids class?
I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely my going off of my aims of jiu-jitsu, which would be...
It's almost like introduction into teaching.
Eventually I want to teach and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's definitely, like I say, it's definitely a really good introduction. And so, yeah, I enjoy it.
Sometimes those classes can be hell.
Hectic.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, it can be carnage.
Yeah.
And, like, you're trying to show something and the kids just aren't listening at all. And it's like, all right, yeah, just crack on. And then I'll walk around and they'll be like, do you know what you're doing? No, I wasn't listening. It's like, well, yeah, of course you fucking weren't listening. You were talking about fucking Toy Story. But yeah, apart from that, so yeah, I do basically 3.5 hours on a Monday.
Yep.
I do Tuesday, which is sort of like hour and a half. Wednesday I always have off. Then obviously Thursday's open mat. Friday... haven't done a Friday for a while, and then Saturday. How long is Saturday? A few hours.
Saturday.
2.5 hours. 2 hours.
2 hours. About 2 hours.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, a bit of training.
2.25 hours.
That's definitely like my doable consistency where I'm at the moment with work and everything like that. Cause,
and then the odd sort of open mat or something.
Yeah,
if it pops up.
Yeah, that's it.
You're going to come to the one that I posted?
I saw that. When is it?
Saturday.
This Saturday?
Yeah.
No, then.
Oh. Well, there's the invite.
Yeah. Yeah, all right. You should have let me know in advance. What about you then? So, how's your training? Well, what have you been training? How have you been training? Can't remember what other questions you
I've been
asked me.
training jiu-jitsu.
Ah, okay. No taekwondo?
No.
Taekwondo.
But, yeah, so my training's been going pretty good. I've upped it by like 2 classes again.
Wait, yeah, so what are you back to?
I'm back
Mondays.
to Mondays, occasionally a Tuesday.
Yeah.
But usually I'll train in the evening on a Tuesday anyway. Teach on a Wednesday, open mat on a Thursday.
Teach on a Friday.
Teach on a Friday. Train like 1.5 of the classes on a Saturday because the first one's fundamentals.
Yeah.
I kind of join them, but I kind of don't at the moment. And then the last Sunday I went to a competition class for 2 hours.
Oh, did you go Baker Boys?
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah, nice.
It was good fun. I haven't done training like that in a good like 1.5 years, so I was gassed.
Yeah.
But injury-wise, like I've got a bad lower back at the moment.
Oh, right.
Which I think started like Thursday last week. I just keep training because I know once the adrenaline kicks in, I don't think about it.
Yeah, that's it.
And then I get to bed and then I just can't move.
Yeah.
Which is probably not the best thing, but I've got a massage today, so
oh, nice.
hopefully that solves it somewhat.
Yeah.
But yeah, training's been good. I'm trying to get back to... I keep jumping from one thing to another, like focusing on. And like 1 minute I'll be practicing like pressure, leaving no space, and then I'll want to switch it up and be more dynamic and move and be more fluid around position, going from side to side. And
do you think it's hard mix those two though? So like when you're focusing, really, you need to spend some time on pressure and then some time on like being dynamic. It's quite hard to mix the two, isn't it? Like, as in, obviously not for everyone, and eventually when you get it, it'll be like, yeah, this is fine, but...
It's like at the moment, I try to pass the guard, or when someone's in seated guard and I'm standing, I'll try and move, but not allow them to get any grips or any hooks.
Yeah, yeah.
And just keep, like, neglecting that and being able to move fluidly around them,
moving
from side to side, which is great for my cardio. I think that's one of the main reasons I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But I do like the pressure and control. And that's why I like training with Sean a lot, because he's very good at if you give him any
Tiniest
space,
amount of space. Yeah.
he will find it and he'll get out.
Yeah.
So
I think he's like a shapeshifter.
yeah,
I don't think.
Seems like it.
I think he's like water.
Yeah, it just suddenly disappears.
He's not human.
He's not there anymore.
Yeah.
So I love training with Sean. He's a lot smaller than me, but I feel if you can control him and he doesn't find the space to escape, then you can do it on someone a lot bigger and it will work.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, obviously their strength's gonna come into play.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, bigger guys obviously have a bit of weight and strength behind it, don't they? Yeah.
But it's finding that balance of applying enough pressure, but also being loose enough that you're not static.
Do you find that, obviously you're a bigger guy, do you find that you sort of get stuck with, like, obviously if you're ever in a position where you're sort of like struggling or something, you have the is it an advantage? But you have the sort of like size and strength advantage to like control the position, shut them down, and that's the problem. Like, no matter what, with how you're built, your pressure's always there.
Yeah.
Even if the technique's not.
Yeah.
With it, do you know what I mean?
So early days, I think probably about 3 months into jiu-jitsu, I realised if I just sit on someone, it's going to be easy.
That's it, yeah.
Because of the size. I was like,
obviously it doesn't develop the technique.
No.
That's where this whole strength and all strength, no technique thing comes in. But
early days, I started playing from my back and started trying to do things that would be difficult, like playing like a small person, trying to invert, do stuff like that where I wouldn't be using my size to beat them. I think that helped me progress. It was difficult, but then once I got good at that sort of thing, then I could add in the pressure because I knew that would come.
It was already there.
Yeah, and it would be easy for me to learn it because of my size.
That's it, yeah.
So I feel like I've got a good balance of being playful, playing from my back, inverting, having a good guard, but then also is being able to switch it up, get on top and apply pressure and leave little space.
Because it's where my game definitely lacks.
Yeah.
Is I just don't have. I sort of know what I should be doing, but like I'm like 65 kg. You know what I mean? If I'm as soon as someone's like 10 kg, 15 kg heavier than me, it's like almost just feels like I know that's not for everything, but it's just for my top pressure game sort of thing. Like
you'll be surprised once you.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I know the technique could be there, but it's definitely where I lack in.
Maybe that's where you want to focus on.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been trying to play top. Like even when I roll with you now, I'm staying on top. I'm staying on top, and then before I know it, I'm on my back doing some like leg entanglement.
Yeah, I think because you're used to it as well, you naturally will fall back to that. Even if it's a sweep or if it's you've chosen to fall back. You're so used to that sort of game and doing it, you're so comfortable with it. It's just second nature. You just flow into it. Whereas you need to switch that side of your mind and force yourself to try and stay on top.
That's it. Yeah. I'd say if you put me against someone similar ability, similar weight, I could probably play top game all day long.
Yeah.
But it's as soon as I'm at a disadvantage, I just fail, and I then resort back to what I know. Yeah. Which is what I know. I know it's where I'm failing, but
as I get older and I keep getting these injuries, I want to be slower, be more controlled, more pressure.
Sloth jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, like tire them out and then play with them at the end, which isn't much fun for the person on bottom. And I like the movement and like the scrambles and stuff like that. So I'm really torn between constantly trying to just do the pressure side of things and control, but then also torn because sometimes I want to just be fluid and move.
See, I like...
And then I play with the lapels and that just
that's bullshit.
Annoys everyone.
Yeah, that is absolutely
I've started
bullshit.
doing it again
I know,
recently.
Cam started doing it as well, and I'm like, come on, Cam, you're better than this.
Every time I do it, I said to him, like, you'll probably start quitting doing the gi at this rate. Yeah. Every time I roll with him now, I just use the lapels, and you can just see it in his face.
It is annoying. It's very annoying. He was trying some like squid guard stuff for me yesterday with the lapels. Yeah, but
it's fun to just play with it because I did it quite a bit when I went down to the open mat in Bournemouth and managed to get a triangle using the lapel and one of my legs, which was brilliant. Never tried it before.
If it works.
Yep, it worked. So that's another one to jot down.
Yeah.
And remember. But just stuff for relieving pressure from when someone's in your side control, passing the lapel behind the back, putting your foot on it, driving it away.
Yeah, just
relieves that bit of pressure.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, I like that. I've started grabbing hold of them more, even if it's just like wrapping an arm.
Yeah.
Just to like you say, take a bit of pressure off or take away a limb.
Yeah.
It's good.
And when you drive it with your foot, like it puts a load of pressure in the armpit, like turns the arm away, and it gets really annoying.
Yeah.
I love it.
I like the cross collar alternative from when you're on their back, and if you can't, so you've got one like collar, but you know when you can't get the other one and they're fighting it, so you reach down, get their lapel, and then put your foot in it, and it like cuts it, and then like
that's nice.
It's good. I like that variation of using the lapel there. But it's funny, isn't it? Because we train in these gis, and the amount of people that neglect
utilising
you get your grips and stuff, but there's so much more of the material and bits and pieces that you can use.
Yeah. I think that's what I've enjoyed most, is like just playing with stuff, not necessarily doing an exact technique, just doing something and seeing if it works.
Yeah.
And see where you can end up with it.
I like that. I would say I'm experimental with my jiu-jitsu. Like I try weird shit.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always work.
No.
But I would never have done it a year ago. But then you sort of like develop a bit and you're like, oh, well, I know I can armbar someone, so what about if I do this now? What about if I try this now? Yeah. And that's why I quite enjoy doing it like that.
I've got just thinking of, as we've been talking about the gi, do you think there's a bigger difference between, say, like a purple belt to a black belt in the gi than there is a purple belt to a black belt in the no-gi?
If my personal opinion is, I think if you obviously you have gyms that train predominantly, or some gyms train only gi, and some gyms train only no gi. The guys that have only ever trained in the gi, I think, I don't know, I shouldn't know if I should say this. I don't
It's
know.
only opinion.
Yeah, it's only my opinion. I don't know if their jiu-jitsu would be as strong if they then had to compete against someone that had only predominantly trained no-gi.
You reckon?
Because it kind of, when we watched Polaris, it kind of proved it. And I'm not saying there was some boring fights. But
that Polaris, the last one we went to watch, was like the most exciting one I've watched, I think.
But the black belt gi matches were very slow and boring.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say it. Because they've got so much control, and they know, and it's all down to how good they are, and that's what I mean. They're amazing. Like,
that's what I mean. Is in, like, if you put a purple belt
no-gi
in the gi against a black belt in the gi, both were only trained in the gi. Do you think there's a bigger difference in ability?
I think that they'd be very similar matched.
You reckon?
Depends.
I think it's for the gi. I think there's more noticeable difference between the belt levels than there is in the no-gi.
Do you think? Sorry, we had a brief interruption there.
Can't remember what I last said.
No, so you're saying you think there's a bigger skill difference between a purple belt in the gi and a black belt in the gi?
Well, just belts in general.
Okay.
So, like, I think there's a bigger skill difference between belts in the gi than there is in the no-gi.
Potentially, yes, because there's more. Is there? Don't know. I'm going to make myself sound like a right fucking idiot.
I've just put you on the spot with this question.
Yeah. Is there more? This isn't my opinion. I'm just saying this is throwing it out there. Is there more skill? Not skill, but is there more to learn and do in the gi? because you've got so much
I
more
thought
you can
so.
do. There's got to be, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do no gi. I mean, obviously you can then.
It's always adapting, and there's new
Yeah,
trends and there's
exactly.
new techniques that
But-
are coming out.
But in the gi, if you put someone, okay, yeah, maybe I'll change my mind. If someone started their jiu-jitsu just in no-gi,
Yeah.
this is another question then, I'll throw this back to you.
Okay.
Do you think it's quicker, potentially, to get your... Right, yeah, so my question to you.
Yep.
2 people start jiu-jitsu, right?
Yep.
One guy's in the gi,
Mhm.
one guy's no-gi. And their whole journey is going to be, he will stay no-gi, he will stay in the gi, yeah? Do you think the no-gi guy can get to black belt quicker than the guy in the gi?
I reckon so.
Again, I'm going to agree. We could be completely like slated out here for this, but and this is what I'm going off what I just said. The guy in no-gi technically has less to learn.
Because there's leg locks in the gi, there's leg locks in the no-gi, there's chokes in the gi, there's chokes in the no-gi,
But
there's no lapels to play with,
there's no
like,
collars,
grips.
there's no grips.
Mm.
There's definitely different. Oh God, yeah. With this,
Within the gi's slower pace, because
not always, but
no.
most of the time, yeah.
as soon as you get a grip, they hunker down,
Yeah,
and it starts getting a bit slower,
yeah.
trying to fight grips. Whereas in the no-gi,
It's always quite faster paced because
Yeah.
you can't slow them down. I mean,
No.
there is positions where you can obviously like grip them and stuff like that,
Mm.
but
in those situations, I feel like that's one of the reasons why it's quicker or easier for someone with less experience to be able to progress.
in no-gi,
Yeah.
I'll go with that. Now,
We both might be completely
Yeah.
wrong.
Now then, how do you think, though, this is the sort of counter of that, if you was to then get 2 black belts,
Yeah.
or 2 brown belts, 2 purple belts, whatever, so whatever belt level, this guy's just trained gi, this guy's just trained no gi, you give them 2 matches,
Hmm.
one in the gi and one in no gi, who do you think would be more dominant? It's got to be...
The gi.
Do you
the
think?
gi guy, I reckon. Obviously, he's going to struggle in the no-gi because there's no grips.
But he still has more technique. He still knows everything that the no-gi guy knows effectively. Potentially not, because obviously there
Yeah.
is different
Some stuff.
stuff. But effectively, he knows just as much as the guy that trains no-gi. But then when the no-gi guy puts a gi on, he knows like 50% less, potentially. All the grips, all the chokes and stuff
He'll
like that.
get a grip, but then if he's never done the gi before,
He's
gonna-
getting swept. He's getting.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, this isn't. I'm not. This isn't like everyone's opinion.
I
Don't
think it's
shoot us down on this, but
I think it's a good one to ask.
it's a
but
topic of
Yeah.
conversation. Yeah.
Neither of them are bad. It's like there's nothing wrong with only training no gi, and there's nothing wrong with only training the gi.
Yeah.
But I think the gi's more difficult.
I think your
certain
I think
ways.
your journey is very different in the gi.
Yeah.
I like. If you went to do a class and you just had a no-gi class,
Yeah.
you could probably teach a lot more in that hour than you could in a gi class, because for the start it's like put your hand here, put your hand here, put your foot here, put your foot here, this
Then
grip,
switch the
this
grip.
grip, switch grips, get a pocket grip there, then switch to the other hand and pocket grip that, blah 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 blah. Whereas with the no-gi, it's like, you know, you're more focused on the actual technique side of it, or the finish, essentially. I mean, obviously, I know there's different ways of positioning and stuff, especially when you go down the route of footlocks and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We could have opened up a can of worms there. My brain's going in overdrive. I'm trying to work out what I believe and what I think, and then I'm changing my mind. So I don't know. I mean, obviously, it has happened of crossovers with like.
Let's say like good example, but then he was versus. So you had Tynan Delpra versus J Rod, wasn't it?
Yeah.
In, who's number 1? They did a NoGi fight, which Thailand's mainly a gi fighter.
Yeah, they
a
did.
super
Yeah,
fight against J-Rod. I'm pretty sure it was J-Rod. And
but J-Rod's a purple belt.
yeah.
So, I think he's a purple belt. Yeah, he is a purple belt.
Yeah.
But then look at his brother. His brother was beating black belts when he was like blue.
Yeah.
In NoGi.
Do you see that happen in the gi?
Yes.
Do you
But
see
not
it
as often.
No.
Unless I'm blind to it. But
I think usually that happens when there's,
especially in a competition environment.
yeah,
In a training gym, of course it's going to happen. Of like
people practicing different
people
things.
practicing different stuff, get put in different positions, they get submitted. But in an actual competition environment, I don't think I can think of or know many blue or purple belts that could potentially go in a comp situation against, a seasoned black belt.
Yeah.
Because
and be able to win.
Yeah, I just don't.
I haven't seen it that much. Obviously,
No,
a lot
it does
of
happen.
competitions, it probably happens all the time.
Of course it does, yeah.
But from, I don't know, it could just be the fact that NoGi's more televised, like you see it more out there.
Well, this is the thing, going off of that and the whole gi versus no gi. I mean, everyone's saying gi's dead, but I don't know.
Nah, it's not dead.
I don't think it's dead. I was no gi. I was no gi through and through. I hated the gi. When I first came back a couple of years back, 2.5 years ago or whatever, I hated the gi.
Just the grips alone.
Yeah,
just drive you
people.
insane.
If you put me in no gi, I was like getting subs, doing this, doing that on an open back. As soon as you put me into a gi, I was like, what the fuck?
See, that's a good example though. Like you were no gi through and through, but you put the gi on and suddenly the people
yeah. So I've experienced it.
Yeah.
Really, but
it's more difficult, but for different reasons.
I love the gi now though. I've probably trained more gi to be honest than no gi, and
And you get people like Ashley who absolutely hate the gi.
See,
the only time he's going to put a gi on if it's a special occasion.
Yeah, but that frustrates me because if you come to a gym and they do gi and no gi classes, just get involved. Just do both, because of course you're going to hate something if it's like a fucking kid eating broccoli. If you have
to get used to it.
If they don't like broccoli and then they just don't ever eat it, they're never going to eat it.
No.
But you just have to put a gi on and get involved. Like a couple of people at our place are like, "Oh, I hate the gi. I'm not going to train in the gi anymore." And I see them only put a gi on every now and then, and it's like, in our gym, and again, I am by no means in the position to be saying this, I suppose, but in my head, I think in our gym, you really have to train both gi and no gi, or just gi or whatever, to progress faster. Which is, again, I'm going off of what I've just said about that potentially you can get your black belt quicker in no gi, but we're not a 10th Planet no gi gym.
No,
I would say we're predominantly a gi.
I think we've got a good balance at the moment.
We have good balance now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
unfortunately, a lot of the no-gi classes are morning classes.
Yeah.
We don't really have a competition class. My Friday morning's meant to be, but you can't really push anyone at 6 a.m.
No, that's it.
It's more drilling.
Yeah.
Positions. And
I would
stuff
say
like
the
that.
closest comp class we've got at the moment is potentially our coloured belt class.
Yeah.
Because we're doing some like heavy.
First to 2 points.
Yeah, and all that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's probably my favourite class of the week at the moment.
I do enjoy that.
Yeah.
First to 2 points from different positions.
And I really like that back-to-back drill and stuff like that,
The one for first to close guard.
Yeah.
That's quite difficult.
It's difficult and it's a workout.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's really good. But, yeah, going back to the gi versus no gi thing, I mean, obviously, anyone listening to this, if someone's predominantly gi, they're going to be like, no, we're the best. And if someone's gi, then they're going to be like, no. I mean, again, I don't know what you think, but people say no gi's more realistic, and I say that's bullshit, because if you get into some altercation on the street, people have got clothes on.
Yeah.
They're not
Depending
fucking
what time
John
of year, they might have,
Danaher
like, hoodie.
Yeah, but they're not a John Danaher weirdo that goes out in a rash guard.
No.
So, in a hoodie, like, I guarantee you could cross-collar someone in a hoodie.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Or use it to drag them to the floor.
Or get their sleeve and get a grip on their sleeve. And I know you could grab their wrist, but it's definitely easier to break a wrist grip than it is to break a sleeve grip. Don't know, what do you think?
What do I think? If gi's more realistic or NoGi?
Yeah.
I think that it's a fine balance, because no one's going to walk around in like a robe, but then equally they do have clothes on which you can grip.
Yeah.
So
that's it.
Yeah.
It sounds weird, but even if someone was on top of you, you know, like
like mount.
Yeah, there's, you know, like reaching over and grabbing their belt and stuff like that for different sweeps.
Yeah.
You might reach over and it sound weird, but you might grab their fucking trousers, whatever, and you're holding on to something.
Yeah.
Obviously, I suppose I get it. That's what makes the argument that NoGi could be more difficult, because you don't have the grips. I mean, this is a never-ending debate,
yeah.
but it's an interesting one.
It'd be interesting to also ask when we do get people.
I tell you what we need to do.
What?
We need to find someone that's like NoGi through and through.
Yeah.
And then we need to find someone that's gi through and through, and we need to just let them
ask them both.
Chat it out.
Yeah.
Get them on here.
Each other points.
Yeah. Get them here and just see what they say. Because it's difficult for us, because we do both.
Yeah, I love them both. Like I'll push the NoGi for a while, and then I'll push the gi for a while, and then I'll go back to the NoGi, and then I'll go back to the gi.
Yeah.
And I just love them both.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't know really. Don't have the answers for you on that one.
No. We'll have to get some more people on to figure it out.
I thought I knew, and then I started talking, and then my brain melted, and now I'm sort of on the fence. I don't know.
For the rest of the day, you'll be questioning it.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of examples, really. Like, I'm trying to think.
Because I try and think of it like if you go on the mats and you had a white belt, a blue belt, a purple belt, a brown belt, and a black belt without their belts on, like just a plain belt, would you be able to tell the difference between each one of those belts easier than you would in the NoGi if you had the same situation in the NoGi?
I reckon if everyone had a gi on but no belt, I reckon I'd be able to pick out the white belt, and that's about it.
You reckon?
But that's only going off of experience with white belts that I roll with now. Because some of the stuff, I think, if you're seasoned in gi, like I'm not, but do you know what I mean? When you roll against people, purple, brown, black belts in the gi, you could just tell just little adjustments to their grip, the way they grip, stuff like that. That's
why I think in the NoGi it's harder to tell the difference between like blue and purple, or like purple, brown and black.
I've rolled some open mats NoGi, and it's like a NoGi open mat. No one's got a gi on. And afterwards I've had to be like, oh, what belt are you? Oh, what belt are you? Do you know what I mean? Because it's definitely harder to tell.
Yeah.
But that's purely on my limited knowledge of the way that I've gripped, or how people react to my grips, my sweeps and stuff in the gi. Yeah. So then when I transfer over to NoGi, again, I'm not really skilled enough to make that judgment. But I know it's don't know.
That's how I try to look at it. Like, if I was to have those belts in front of me without their belts on, would I be able to tell the difference between them, or would it be easier in the NoGi to be able to tell the difference?
Do you know what
I feel
really
like the gi, it would be easier.
Yeah. Do you know what a really cool game to play with, like different gyms?
What?
Would be, you invite a group from like 4 different gyms, and they have to send a white belt, blue belt, purple belt, brown and black if they've got them all.
Yeah.
And then you have someone competes against them, just like little 1-2 minute rounds, and then they have their belts there, and they have to try and match and align their belt to that person. It could be really insulting for some people.
Yeah.
But it would be interesting, wouldn't it, to see if people could pick
the difference. And then same for NoGi as well.
Yeah. It's like with the NoGi thing as well, people do get forgotten about. So I think he's just come back training, hasn't he? But that lad that you give the blue belt to, he only trains NoGi, doesn't he? Dermot.
Oh, Dermot, yeah.
So he comes to your classes and he only trains NoGi.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever put a gi on, has he? Oh, I think he has. He has.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
has.
But literally like once or twice, I've known anyway.
Yeah.
And I remember coming back doing a few of your classes and rolling with him, and it's like you were like, oh, he's a white belt. And it's like, mate, he's not a fucking white belt. Like, he was blue belt.
No.
But do they get forgotten about because they only train NoGi?
I think because a head coach doesn't see them.
Yeah.
It's more difficult.
They're only going off of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if they go to the main classes, which Bernie teaches, then he's going to get to see them and see their ability. But when they only go into the other classes that he doesn't teach, it's difficult for him to sort of gauge what's going on. He just has to go off our word.
Yeah. Another thing as well. What about so IBJJF states that if you've trained, I believe this is IBJJF, if you've trained MMA for longer than 2 years, is it, or 18 months, you have to compete as a blue belt. Yeah.
I don't know that one.
I
know something about if you're a black belt in judo, you have to go straight to blue.
Yes.
Compete at blue.
Let me hold the line. Let me just do a little bit of googling. Yeah, I know the judo one. So let me Google if you have trained MMA, can you be a white belt in jiu-jitsu? I thought it was an IBJJF.
While you're searching that, are you training today?
Yeah, I'm training today. You?
Lunchtime I'm not, because I've got 7 of these things to wrap.
Okay.
Which were dropped off this morning, and I have to have them done by lunchtime tomorrow. And this is the first one.
I can't find the answer to my question. What's this? This is a Reddit. White belt with MMA record competing, signed up for a tournament. Rules say anyone with an MMA record is ineligible to compete as a white belt. One of the guys in my division has an MMA record.
So if they've got an MMA record, then they have to compete.
I think they have. Yeah. So.
Which is fair.
Right. So that was a long-winded way of getting around to my question.
Yep.
Which was, do you think that's fair? Do you think that someone that trains MMA?
Yeah, because they're going to have some knowledge of grappling, aren't they? If they do MMA, because it's mixed martial art.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I started my.
Maybe.
I started my
in the
journey.
gi, not so. Well.
It's weird, isn't it?
No, I'd say yeah, blue belt.
And what? And the same
Gi
with the
and
judo
no
rule.
gi. Yeah.
So if you're a black belt judo.
Yeah. Minimum blue.
Minimum blue.
Because white belt's complete novice. Like they don't, the max they've been doing it is like a year.
Yeah.
Whereas a judo guy, if he's a black belt, he's gonna have been doing it at least, was it 5-6 years?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I think something like that.
Yeah.
Which the experience you get from that is going to be way more.
Even
though
if
it's 2 different martial arts, it's still crossover.
But the thing is, you could still go in as a white belt and then you could literally just chuck all the other white belts on the floor, couldn't you? You're one step ahead.
Because I think in judo they do like 30 seconds on the floor, so they still do like arm bars and stuff like that.
Yeah,
as well.
I think you have to be seen to be attempting a submission, don't you?
Yeah.
In judo, otherwise the ref will put you back up on your feet.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would say they'll have to do it.
Yeah.
Have to do it at blue.
Yeah, I agree with that one. I just
What about Aikido?
Oh, it's automatic black belt at jiu-jitsu, isn't it?
Yeah. But I think
I had another thing I was going to say off the back of that, and I've forgotten it now. But yeah.
With the podcast and everything, it's not to where we're taking it super serious. It's just something fun and enjoyable, and it's just ideas that we think is going to be great. And just hope it works out, really.
That's it.
Just
and literally, it's called Jiu Jidiots because we are idiots. Like, don't
don't take
anything we say as gospel. Or we
Yeah.
might get loads of stuff wrong or whatever. It's literally all you've got to imagine is we're just literally here chatting to each other.
It's like two people after a class. Which, if you train jiu-jitsu, well, if you're listening to this, you're going to be training jiu-jitsu anyway.
You might not.
No, maybe.
You might just like our sound of our voice.
Possibly.
Like ASMR.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, you'll realise it after class. You're always standing there chatting around, talking about stuff. So it's the same thing with this.
This is the same shit that we come out with in the pub or in the car park.
Yeah.
That we're just recording now.
To hopefully allow people to join in and get into this discussion.
I listen to a lot of podcasts and I think they're too serious.
Yeah.
I think they're just like, especially when they get bigger, they're just like talking shit and like.
The one podcast I always recommend to everyone is one called Bad Friends. I listen to it every week.
I've never heard that one.
It's two comedians, Bobby Lee and Andrew Santino.
I like Bobby Lee, yeah. He's funny.
All the time. Every week I listen to it.
Yeah.
I've got the current one up on my computer while I'm working.
Yeah, nice.
Because he's just turned 60.
Oh,
But they just talk so much and it just makes no sense half the time.
Yeah, that's it.
It's brilliant.
I think that's kind of what ours are never going to have structure.
No.
Like, we're both definitely ADHD and we just jump around from different subjects. So don't ever expect some structure because it's not going to happen.
No. It's just going to be a free-flowing conversation.
Yeah.
Like exactly what it's like at the end of class.
But I've got to go and train now. You're pussying out.
I'm pussying out.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm going to work.
So hopefully
this will be out by Friday.
This will be out on Friday. So if you're listening to it now, it should be Friday.
Yeah.
Or no, that's not true because you're not going to potentially listen to it anyway. And then
everyone's going to listen to it as soon as it comes out.
Yeah, that's it. I forget. Like literally 6 million views.
We haven't really told anyone that it's happening, but
and then every Friday after that.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get something up.
Yeah.
Like as I said, we've got a couple pre-recorded, so they might sound a little bit confusing because I'll try and upload them in between our regular ones.
Yeah, because sometimes we miss. Like it's more me. I struggle with work, so sometimes I miss a week. So we have recorded some that we can jump in between.
Fillers.
Or if something happens like with our grading or important stuff in the club or comps and stuff like that, we might then record one off the back of that, and it might just be jumped in between somewhere. So, but this is officially episode number 1.
Officially.
Jiu Jidiots.
Yep.
I got to go train.
Yep. I got to work.
So I'm signing out.
See you laters.